Today I'm at Combermere Abbey to take a look at the world's only fruit tree maze.
Combermere Abbey lies on the border between Cheshire and Shropshire and is home to beautiful pleasure gardens and a 6-acre walled garden that contains a special feature. With an estate set on over 1,000 acres of land, the abbey was first founded in the 12th century, with gardens existing in many evolving forms from this time. The private gardens are now used as a stunning backdrop for weddings and by guests who stay at the holiday cottages on site. I chatted with the owner of Combermere, Sarah Calendar Beckett, about the history and design of the estate, as well as the famous walled garden feature that is the only one of its kind to exist in the world.
This house and its gardens have been in my family, the Crossley family, since 1919. Until I took it on in 1992, I came back from quite a long stint working overseas in America, and I took on the property and basically started pulling it back together again. It was a little lost, it was a little sad, and the gardens had not really been terrifically developed at all. The walled gardens had been abandoned. Too few people to look after them, no longer a need for the vegetables and fruit that would have serviced the house. So the walled garden was the first area that we looked at because I restored the stables and created holiday cottages. So behind the stables is this amazing 6-acre walled garden. 3 gardens, but 6 acres overall. It's been really a sort of evolutionary process, but it's very much enjoyed. And so these sections, obviously, as with lots of gardens, they evolve. What you put in 30 years ago doesn't fit today. You have to do various things, reintroduce different plantings, and we have to do all of that. In a totally crazy move, in 1993, we were introduced to Randall Coate. Randall Coate was a maze designer, and he came on a visit to Combermere, and it was thanks to Randall that he suddenly said this is where we had to put a maze. And it turned out through weird conversations that we created a fruit tree maze. It's the only one of its type in the world. It's got apples and pears, and along the walls it has apricots, peaches and quince. And again, it's always an evolution. It's going through a minor evolution now, but it is very unique. And from the air, it is the shape of an eye, and everything in the symbols that have been integrated are all puns on fruit and the history of labyrinth. What I hadn't thought about really was I was going to get fruit off these fruit trees. So now we collect about 1,000 kilos of fruit every year. That gets pressed and put into the breakfast hampers for our wedding guests.
Matt is the estate manager at Combermere and works with his team to maintain the maze as well as the rest of the walled gardens throughout the year.
So as you can imagine, this takes quite a lot of maintenance through the summer, and during the autumn when we do its full prune. We do a little prune in the summer just before the fruit to keep it under control. But yeah, it's a lovely place to work.
The walled garden is also home to other distinct garden areas across its 6 acres of land.
The area that I do love is the first walled garden, the geometric garden, because I love the idea that each area, each geometric shape has its own personality. It's got some spectacular trees in there, and it's got some lovely plantings. So to wander in there and to be able to sit down and quietly enjoy what's going on is very special.
We're here in the rose garden, which has just been slightly redesigned this winter. It's a mixture of David Austin roses, Peter Beale roses, and we've underplanted it here with some chives. We try to be as organic as possible in the gardens, and the chives are a companion plant. They help with the aphids. They bring ladybirds in, and that also helps. So yeah, that companion planting is a thing we're trying to do in this border now, and it's starting to establish itself well. So this is the area we call the blue and white garden. We've got some lovely plants in here. We've got the white alliums, purple alliums, and we're also just about to plant some new planting, some purple echinacea.
Across the estate at Combermere, there are other garden areas that have been developed away from the walled garden, as Sarah shares.
So we're standing in the garden at the north wing. The north wing of the Abbey was totally derelict and was basically restored between 2014 and 2016. It had to be completely rebuilt. We took a view that the gardens here should be a nod to the medieval Elizabethan gardens that would have been here before. So we created a sort of knot garden. We came up with a beautiful design which echoes our logo here at Combermere, which is a Gothic quatrefoil, and the chevrons that you find in the windows of the north wing when it was Gothicized. The other garden area we had, which was something that was planted in the late 1800s, was the pleasure garden. Now, originally, pleasure gardens were there for guests of the house and the owners to walk up to after lunching or being in the house. So they were like a postprandial constitutional. The Viscount travelled extensively, and he did plant up some rather wonderful trees. So we have some fantastic Wellingtonia specimens. We have cedar of Lebanon. We have a swamp cypress. And then since Peter and I have been here 30 years ago, we've introduced a whole lot of new trees. And most recently, we have built, in honour of my mother who died 3 years ago, a small pavilion, which is now called Pempy's Pavilion. And that has a lot of magnolias around it. So we keep it generally uninterrupted view, but it's got these rather beautiful and different species of magnolia. Pleasure garden at this time of year is beautiful. We have rhododendrons, particularly one species of rhododendron which you see replicated in various spots throughout the gardens and the landscape here. And it's a bright, bright crimson. It's a sort of pinky crimson, and it always uplifts the spirit after you've had quite a long winter and a very wet one as we have this year.
So we're here now in the pleasure gardens of Combermere Abbey. The main feature in here is these beautiful rhododendrons. They're looking spectacular at this time of year. So this is one of my favourite areas of the estate. It's the Acer Walk. I've got some lovely specimens which look absolutely fantastic in the autumn, but also during the summer, I think they give a really nice effect to walk down in the shade.
We do have a lot to take care of here. The walled gardens are evolving. We're looking at ways of making them perhaps a bit more sculptural and less burdensome for the team to look after, to make sure they always look wonderful. Seeing people enjoy them, that's definitely my number one reason for keeping up and spending the time and investing in these gardens, is getting the public in to enjoy them and just get the benefit from being outside in beautiful spaces.
To find out more about Combermere, you can visit their website combermereabbey.co.uk or follow the link in the description of this video. Make sure to subscribe to Horticulture magazine and like this video to see more garden tours like this one. Thanks for watching.